Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Salon Professionals Business Growth Made Easy podcast. I am Maria Fontana, your host, and today I have an amazing guest, my dear friend David, who really blessed me with his presence today and his beautiful energy. Welcome, David. How are you?
Thank you, Maria. I am really well, thanks, and really honored to be here with you and your audience. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm David Kinigson, and I'm a hairdresser just like you.
Yes, awesome. So, David, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I'm not going to read a formal intro. Tell them a little bit about you, your magic, what you bring to the world, and then we'll go into our little discussion on how we can help people evolve a little bit personally and professionally this year.
Sounds really good. Thank you. I've been a hairdresser for about 48 years. I've always been a departmentalized salon hair cutter. I've never done any other amenity or service other than cutting hair. And that's been my sole focus, both in the salon and as an independent educator. I obviously haven't been an educator for 48 years, but more like 40 years. And I've always been non-manufacturer affiliated, which I'm very proud of, because everything I've always taught has been what I've created, invented, originated, whether it's techniques or philosophies. And the third thing that I've done throughout my career is I've always been in the studio. I've been an editorial session stylist throughout my career. And that means I've worked for Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, Elle Magazine, Allure, all the domestic magazines, as well as the international magazines. And I'm really honored to have been able to work with some of the top photographers and top models of particularly my era, when I was really at it a lot. So I call salon, education, and studio like the holy trinity of doing hair. And I've always been involved in all three. There were a couple of things that it's been a wow career. Really, I'm so fortunate. I've loved my life. I loved my career, and I continue to.
That's amazing. That's just amazing. You're just like awesome. I love to hear all about that. And don't forget to tell everyone that you have an amazing book out there too, which I did see and read, and it is very valuable to our community of salon professionals. Super valuable.
Thank you. Thanks. I recently put out in March 2020 the 33 and a third anniversary edition of a book I wrote called The Haircutter's Handbook. And it's it always has been incredibly well received in the industry. Vidal Sassoon wrote the preface, and every legend, icon, haircutter, and educator that your audience admires has graced the pages of my book with comments and endorsements, and I'm really humbled by that. So the Haircutter's Handbook is the very first book that I wrote, and it's available on Amazon. People can order it there, and they can get a signed copy from me if they would like. This is the book. People can I'm sure we'll give them my info at the end, and people can get a copy from me.
We'll drop links below, guys. There's going to be links below in the descriptions of everything we talk about, where you can order the book, connect with David, connect with me, connect with all the goodies that we do offer. So Dave, I want to talk today about, before we started our podcast, we were kind of touching a little bit on, what we wanted to discuss today. And I really would love to get your feedback on what I see to be a craze. Now, if what we say pisses you off, you can turn us off, you can unsubscribe, or you can open your ears and get rid of your ego and maybe learn a little bit. Okay, so before I go any further, I'm just going to tell you guys too that David, as myself, we have invested a lot of time and heart and soul in healing ourselves. What does that mean? Personal development, digging out the shit, digging out the gunk, processing the ego, and shifting our energy so we could show up better in life for ourselves, for our clients, for everyone else. Right, David?
Yeah, really well said. Concurrent with my hairdressing career, I have been involved in personal development, personal growth, transformational studies. And when I say involved, I didn't just read a few books on it. I immersed myself in it at a very young age, and I've taught programs, led programs on communication, responsibility, integrity, health and well-being, to other people than hairdressers. And I've done that throughout my career. And I've applied those things first and foremost to myself so that I could be the best possible David that I could be. What does that mean? It means to, one, not react to the things that happen around me, but respond in a responsible way. And I've been an originator of some distinctions in personal development. And the two biggest, apart from leading those seminars for a diverse audience of people who came to attend those workshops and seminars, I've had two really cool playgrounds so that I could discover and work with the human condition. And they were the women who sat in my chair. And I really learned about women and was able to apply some of the work that I do to empower women when they're sitting in my chair, getting their hair done, so that they could have the fullest possible expression of beauty and sense of themselves and style. And the second playground were hairdressers themselves when I teach classes. So when I teach a haircutting class, let's say it's a class on, secrets of wet and dry haircutting, because there are benefits to both. Mm-hmm. I have throughout my career also worked with hairdressers on breaking through their challenges that they have with haircutting, their fears, their challenges, and how they can overcome them.
I love that. Such a needed partner industry. So guys, as I was saying before, the reason why we're sharing that personal development and healing is such a huge part of transformation, it's a huge part of growing yourself personally and growing your business, especially in the high touch industry we're in. Do you know that if you invest a little time in growing yourself, that your bank account's going to grow too? And David and I did notice that online, especially, there's a lot of negative banter, maybe a little, I don't even know how to say it, fucked up advice, severe advice, things that are very, very harsh and full of ego circulating. Now, again, we're not bashing anyone. We're just portraying our opinion as industry leaders and just being in the industry so long and really having tons of experience. So what I've been seeing is a lot of bashing to divorce your client, get rid of that client, cut her off. They need an application to come in. I mean, jump right in here, David. What have you seen? Have you seen the same thing?
Yeah, let me, I have. And again, not to bash anybody and to be really clear, I'm a punk ass kid from the streets of New York who was destined to be a punk ass kid. And I worked on myself, whether it's learning about myself, learning about the human condition, or learning about the world and traveling and learning about wine and the arts. So I recognize that we are a very diverse industry from all walks of life, but whatever it is I've become in 48 years, it took work and I've overcome my own challenges. And one of the things that I find really disheartening as our industry is in the midst of change, there's so much change. Education is not the same as it used to be, the availability of it, apprenticing, not the same as it used to be. Not that it should be the same. It's just not the same. What it is to be a hairdresser in a commission-based salon or part of a team or the opportunity to go out on your own. I think we're in a big upheaval. And to your point, when I go online and I see hairdressers giving advice to other hairdressers, one of the topics that is paramount, apart from color and apart from cutting, it's the clients. And there's a lot of conversation about clients disrespecting the hairdressers, and over time, over the quality of the work, over the cost, about showing up late or not showing up at all. And more often than not, the resounding response is some form of fire her. Don't be disrespected. Fire her. You need to cut her loose. You need to let her go. And I find that to be really sad, really, really sad, because I've always taken the case that if a person didn't like the work that I did, first and foremost, perhaps I missed something in the consultation. Maybe there was something that I could have heard that if I had heard it, I might have been spot on. I always take the case that maybe I just didn't do her hair as good as I thought I did. I'm not saying that we don't have crazy clients,
right?
Disrespectful clients, or even criminals who try to get free work. But before, I've never fired anybody. And more to the point, in 48 years, I've never felt disrespected. Disrespect or feeling not respected lives over here. I've been in conversations with people from all walks of life, from professions like legal and financial and economics and politics and showbiz and entertainment and the arts. And not once have I ever felt disrespected because of the respect that I give them first. And so somewhere in there, when we talk about personal growth and personal development, I always think that if you're feeling disrespected, I mean, if at one time isolated, okay, but if you have a feeling of disrespect, if you have a feeling that they don't know my worth, rather than think there's something wrong with them, maybe you might want to look here. It's not their job to be able to communicate effectively what they want. It's our job. It's our job to listen effectively and pull out of them something that we can get. I get it now. I know what you want. I can hear you. And there's that, there's something not present in the world of development, personal development, professional development, and responsibility, that if many of our hairdressers, particularly those that are out on their own because they don't have a team, they will take themselves to another level and they'll start to attract what it is they want to attract. And it's not fire your clients.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I'm in business. It's gonna be 36 years this year. And same thing. I can clearly say another thing that I've learned in my experience, and tell me if you've had this experience too, is you have to be honest too with yourself. Like, you can't be in your ego so much. So if someone has asked me for something that's not attainable, I would be honest with them. I would not go ahead and set myself up for failure. I would make sure that consultation, that communication is clear. And I have to be honest with you, as I worked on myself and I started healing my own stuff and I let go of my anger and I started removing all these barriers, my business grew, my relationships grew. I didn't have that chip on my shoulder anymore because, I'm not the same person I was 35 years ago when I started my first salon at 19. So I think it's really important to your point that we do invest time to look in the mirror. Because I always say this, right, David? If I'm feeling judged, I need to look in the mirror. That is a reflection of something that's going on inside of me. And it's very a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth, right?
Yeah, it really is the truth. And when you talk about ego, ego is one of many misunderstood and misused concepts or abstractions, as it were. Ego is misunderstood and misused. People somehow think ego is bragging. And that's hardly what ego is.
Right.
Feeling disrespected is also a function of ego. It's misidentifying yourself as something else and thinking you're that. And so that's often misused. And people working on themselves today, I think it's terrific that people are developing, positive attitudes. I think it's wonderful that so many people are coaching others, but there's a lot of misunderstandings about many of the distinctions of transformation and personal growth today that I hope we'll see the other side of today. Right now, people toss around, mindset. As if they're actually talking about mindset when they aren't, and that is another one of the big misunderstood and misused expressions today, out there. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just based on the misidentification. They're not getting the benefits of the work they're putting in as much as they could be. It's one thing to have a positive attitude about the shitty things that are happening to you. I think that's great. If having a positive attitude about the shitty things that are happening to you is a good thing. On the other hand, a positive attitude doesn't necessarily stop shitty things from happening to you. It just means you've got a good attitude about it. That's great. But there's other work that could be done when you are working on yourself, that the misidentification of distinctions slows down the growth, slows down the breakthroughs.
Right. It's just not words. This is what I found in my personal journey. It's just not words, or it's just not a journal, or it's just not a vision board. It's an action. It's a habitual change. It's a commitment that comes into your life every single day. And as you evolve and do that, right? These things, people say, oh, I took a mindset course. Yeah, but that's not how it works. It is a commitment, a lifestyle change. It is shifting your whole energy that you really stand in that power, right?
That's really brilliant, because we're going to get, I just finished writing a book that I'm putting the finishing touches on, and it's about mindset. And I'm a little torn with my title. I have two working titles. One is, What is Your What? And the other is, What is Your Mindset? A conversation for mindset in action. That's your point. See, today I hear mindset talked about like this. If you and I are commiserating over my breakup with my girlfriend, and I say, Maria, this is really hard on me. I'm a little sad. I even am going in and out of being depressed. I can't eat. I'm thinking about what I did wrong, what I could have done better. And it's not uncommon for you to say to me, David, you need to change your mindset. Now, that is a perfect example of a misidentification and misuse of mindset. First of all, I didn't describe my mindset. I described emotions and feelings that I'm going through, which happen to be appropriate to a breakup.
Yes.
Feelings of sadness and hurt and disappointment are appropriate feelings. And if Maria was an attuned coach, she might say to David, you know, you need to let yourself experience the sadness. You need to experience fully the hurt and the disappointment. You might want to not necessarily make yourself so wrong about it, but therein lies the work after you have experienced it. But it certainly is not change your mindset. You know,
Right.
there are mindset is fixed, growth, inherent, and inspirational.
Yeah.
Nowhere in that conversation is about your mindset. So that's a perfect misuse of it. And it's like you said, mindset's not a noun. Mindset is a verb. If it's not in action, if you are not working toward altering your habits, altering the actions that you take in order to upgrade yourself, you're not shifting your mindset. And so this conversation is apropos to where a lot of people are at, because if they're in a conversation about mindset at all, that's a good thing. But as I said before, if you're going to do the work,
right,
you might want to do it efficiently.
Correctly. Right. Right. Because if there's awareness, that what we're talking about is awareness. Yes, you're having that conversation, but I can honestly say, and I wrote about this in one of my last books, and I'm not embarrassed of it. It took me over 20 years of therapy, healers, changing my habits daily, changing what I do, incorporating new things in my life. Like a word boundary. I didn't know what the hell a boundary was. Who the hell had boundaries? Like I wasn't raised with boundaries. I was raised,
Sure.
You know, like, are you joking me? But I had to feel uncomfortable for a very long time, one step at a time. So David,
Yeah.
It's
I just want to,
right?
May I say one more thing?
Oh, go ahead.
Telling a person online in a comment thread that you need to change your mindset, girl, and stop being disrespected. You need to fire that person. And when you got 50 people or more telling you that, I'm sorry, you're getting bad advice. Maybe you need to change your mindset, but it would be about the experience of being disrespected and not necessarily taking the action of firing someone.
I agree.
Just saying.
I agree. And also perhaps, another thing, again, a lot of these forums I think are very toxic. And I use that word not lightly. Toxic, where I mean, if you're that busy and you're that focused on your career and your lifestyle, I just don't see how these people have so much time to contribute so much negative nonsense online. And, you'd become like the 5 people you surround yourself with. I believe that so truly. So hanging out in places where there's a lot of this banter is not good for your evolution.
It's not good.
Surround yourself with people who are going to feed your soul, who are going to help you go into delving out. What's the truth here? It's like you said, it's not that you have to fire the client. It's that you might have to do a little bit of work. Maybe you're presenting yourself wrong. Maybe you're attracting the wrong type of people who really aren't aligned with you because you're not really present in who you really are today.
Absolutely. Before everyone was going online with the forums and saying, so this happened to me today. I hate it when people start sentences with so. Everybody's starting everything with so. So this happened to me today. So a client came in, before everyone was going on social media and before everyone was in their own private Idaho, working in their own salon or, by themselves, and now forced to go online because they don't have a lot of other wherewithal, other avenues to go down, or they just don't know about them. Right. A stylist in my salon, when I owned the salon here in West Palm Beach, we did a woman who promoted our fashion shows. She was my partner in the fashion shows. She got the models, she got the venue, she got all of it. And then I created the hair concept. My team worked on it. We did the fashion show.
Wonderful.
And this young lady who we'll call X,
Okay.
uh, was the promoter, and she would often come late. And apparently, she wouldn't give out cards on behalf of the stylist. So the
Mhm.
stylist who was doing her hair came to me and said, "I'm upset.
Mhm.
X always comes late and she never gives out my card." So I said, the business about the card, I'll answer first. If she had a card for everybody that she promoted, she'd
Mhm.
have to carry a stack of cards this big.
Mhm.
And so she doesn't carry anybody's card. But when she's out, she always looks great. And everybody says, "Who did your hair?" And she will always talk about you. But the more important part was her coming late. And she said she always comes late. And I said, "Well, I understand that. She's out and about. She's a woman about town. And it's not okay that she comes late. It's
Mhm.
just that sometimes she comes late." Now, being a celebrity hairdresser and working for the magazines, we would often find ourselves in the studio waiting for an A-list Faye Dunaway or
Mhm.
William Hurt. And so, or a supermodel waiting for them to come in the studio. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it happens. And
Mhm.
so I said to her, "What would you do if Jennifer Lawrence was your client
Mhm.
and Jennifer Lawrence came late?"
Mhm.
And she said, "Well, X isn't Jennifer Lawrence."
Mhm.
And I said, "You're right. How do you think you get the practice to be able to handle Jennifer Lawrence? You can't even handle X.
X.
You get all bent out of shape about that." So to some degree, these uncomfortable situations, these situations that life presents us that we wouldn't like to have,
Mhm.
are things that people like to say, God gives you what you can handle.
Mhm.
Handle it
I'm with you.
and you will grow.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
make you laugh. I had I
you
had
just did.
two chronic late clients for 35 years. They've been that's a long time, like those steadies. You know what I did after a first year? I just moved their appointment. I didn't tell them. I just moved them a half hour late. It's like, who gives a shit? Like
Gives a shit.
it was, I knew they were always going to be a half hour late. So I just, you know what? It doesn't matter. They still have never come on time. I don't really care. If this is how you're going to consume yourself daily, but I look at the ROI, the return on investment, the money those people have spent with me, the loyalty, the referrals. Again,
Yes.
that client value. There's more to it than meets the eye today. And I think that's where we're going with all this, right? So, David, tell the audience, where can they find you? How can they work with you? Besides your amazing book on Amazon, where can they connect with you? We will drop everything in the description below or above, depending on where you're watching,
Sure.
you're listening.
Yeah, I'm really accessible. I'm on social media, David Kinigson. You can reach me on Facebook or Instagram. I answer every email or text or DM that I get. Um, and I'm really responsive that way. I love to be engaged with hairdressers throughout. If people want to get a hold of me and work with me, I do one-on-one classes. I come into salons and I do classes. I am a keynote speaker at conferences, whether hairdressing or outside of hairdressing. My book is available, The Haircutter's Handbook. I can't just say my book anymore. The Haircutter's Handbook is available on Amazon. People can get a signed copy directly from me if they want, and they should be on the lookout for my Mindset in Action book, What is Your What? Overcoming Challenges and Fears, a conversation for mindset in action. So I look forward to hearing from your audience and our fellow hairdressers, and I will get back to everybody. I
love
respond
that.
to every comment.
And when it gets closer to the book launch, I will update everyone about David's book. I will update everything and keep you guys, and maybe we could have another chat at that time so we could plug the book a little more. You know, the bottom line is this: tell one piece of advice that we can close with today that every single salon professional, no matter what sector they're in, should think about bringing into the new year for themselves, to the new month, to the new week, to the new day.
I think that being grateful. It's Thanksgiving time, even before Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's. I think that being grateful and being thankful for what you have, and being generous. I think that being generous to another is a really great gift. And one of the things that I practice is what I call random conversation with strangers. It's sort of like paying it forward. It's sort of like random acts of kindness. But I really enjoy conversations with people. And when you have those conversations with people, leave them in a better state than you found them.
That's beautiful. And just for the record, that is how David and I became friends. A random conversation. And we both gave lots of love, lots of light, and lots of generosity in all realms, right?
In 5 minutes.
But that's a perfect example. Don't be selfish. Just do the best you can.
That's right.
Well, it was amazing having you. I love you very much. I think you're a beautiful soul, and you are just an honor to have today. Thank you so much. Guys, listen, make sure that you connect with David, buy his book, reach out to him. A 2-minute conversation with this man can change your whole life. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Maria. You are delightful, and thank you for your commitment to the industry. I love you back.
Oh, thank you. All right. Bye, honey.